Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach, and today I'm going to be unboxing Unmatched Hell's Kitchen, which includes Daredevil, Elektra, and Bullseye. And I will say, I don't actually know too much about these characters, and I have not watched, I think there might be a Daredevil television show or something. I'm not 100% sure on that. And I think maybe these other characters might show up in that. I'm not 100% sure. But I do enjoy a lot of what Marvel has put out over the last, decade now, it seems like. So it is interesting to kind of see some of the new characters, and I really love Unmatched. So I definitely like Marvel in there, but I don't know. This might be a controversial statement. I think I would have preferred all like the Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, just because I know those a lot more, and I don't actually, until this year, didn't have any Marvel-related games outside of Marvel United. So I know there's a lot of people that say we don't need those, same characters again and again in all our games. But I actually, not having any until Marvel United is like, well, I wouldn't mind having Unmatched, but I also know there's probably things with copyright or whatever it is, and owning the rights to these, and still interested in these characters for sure, and maybe it'll get me interested or wanting to look up some shows on these people possibly. But yeah, let's just get right into it now, and it looks like we've got the rules here, and these I think are pretty typical from set to set, outside of if there's any new mechanisms introduced, then they'll kind of be laid out, included in the book as well. But then we can get into the different dials here. So we've got the 3 different dials for the different characters. I always love looking at these. The artwork they choose for these is always really solid. I think they do an amazing job with their artwork choices on these dials. Like, they could just be normal one-colored dials and, be not as fun, but they just always go out of their way to make these a lot of fun, which I really appreciate, really enjoy. But yeah, so got some nice looking dials there. Then it looks like we've got a new map. Looks like it's double-sided, but I think it might be the same map, only on one side. They got kind of the rings that kind of show the different areas, whereas this side has the filled-in circles. I usually prefer playing on this side. I guess you'll have to let me know in the comments below. Do you usually prefer with these maps that have kind of the 2 options of the same map, but one with just the rings, the other with the filled-in circles? Which one do you usually end up using? But yeah, I think this, like I've probably said in every unboxing of Unmatched, I think the system they use here, where they show which areas are kind of adjacent to one another, or like if you're using a ranged character, you can kind of, these are actually adjacent because they have the 2 of the same colors. I really think this works insanely well comparatively to some line of sight things. They start getting like, oh, you can see through this, but you can't see through that, or so many spaces away. Some of those systems are just so complicated, but this one just makes it so simple and so smooth, so easy to see. Oh, yep, I am adjacent, or nope, I'm not. I cannot attack that person currently. I may have to move. But it just makes it really clear, and I really love that. And I love all the different maps. They kind of all feel a little bit different. I would say I'm not a skilled enough Unmatched player to be like, okay, well, this specific map, I'm going to do this, or something like that. I'm sure there are people that have played this much more than I have that could be like, oh, well, that map is really, really good for this character. And I'm sure as I played more, I could maybe see some of those things, but I'm definitely not at that level. But then these are to put the dials together. Then we've got the cards, and I'll see if I can get them open. That's always my struggle in these unboxing videos. This one looks, yeah, that's what I always do. I snap it off about halfway just to make it a little bit more of a pain for myself. But it looks like we got this one open. I think this one is Bullseye. So Bullseye can attack from up to 5 spaces away, ignoring zones. Okay, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I really love that they can make all of these different. It's awesome. And then usually I found it almost always fits the character, which is awesome as well. And usually I just, first look, just like to look at the artwork on these cards, because I usually like to be surprised during my first play as to kind of what these can do. Just kind of picking up the cards and seeing, ooh, that's kind of a cool thing. Yeah, this is kind of some interesting artwork. I always like the artwork on these cards. They always do such a solid job. I think I've probably said it many times, but there's kind of something similar to all the artwork in all the different decks that you can get from Unmatched, but then they're also quite a bit different too, typically. So it's just interesting how they can kind of make it feel like they're different, but they're in the same world almost. But yeah, this looks like a lot of black and white. It's kind of a very cool look to a deck there. A little interesting. I'm trying to think if there's any. I've kind of gone down the rabbit hole of Unmatched. I can't remember if there's any that have used kind of a black and white look before. I don't think so, but I'm not 100% sure. Looks like we got maybe some ninja-like characters here who are going to help Elektra, I think. So I always like those sidekick little chips too. I think I've seen online some people kind of print out the sidekicks, which I think is cool as well, but it's actually those chips are pretty solid, I would say. We've got Elektra. The first time Elektra would be defeated, remove her and all hand from the board. She is not defeated. At the start of your next turn, resurrect her. Ignore effects with this symbol. Okay, so that her group must be the hand there. Wow. So she gets resurrected. Interesting. Ooh, Elektra resurrected. When Elektra resurrects, flip your health dial, shuffle your discard pile into your deck, place Elektra and all hand back onto the board with each fighter in a different zone. You must resolve those effects. Interesting. Well, that's going to be an interesting character to play. Yeah, some more solid artwork. Kind of got more of a red-black look to a lot of these cards. And it seems like this deck is a bit smaller, so there must be something with that dying and being resurrected that they made the deck. I wonder if it's... I can't remember what a typical deck, how many cards are in a deck. I don't know if it's 30. This one might be like 2/3 of a regular deck, maybe. Feels a little bit smaller. Maybe it's the same size. I might just be imagining that. But that will be pretty interesting. And last but not least, we got Daredevil's deck. And I'm sure this will be the one I really struggle on. It's the last one. Oop. Is it coming? Maybe. Got the last piece here. Of course, the last one's the hardest one to get open. And I've got that on my finger. So we've got Daredevil. During combat, if you have 2 or fewer cards in your hand, you may blind boost your attack or defense. Interesting. That's another interesting ability that I haven't seen before. And we got some more really cool artwork. It's almost got a weird comic book look to it. It's kind of got more orange and yellow with the black. Just some more solid artwork. Yeah, I can't wait to try this set out. It sounds like 3 very interesting and different characters here. But then we'll actually look at the minis. I still don't know what my favorite part about the production is, if it's the minis or the cards, because they use really solid artwork, but the minis are really solid as well. They all look very different. We've got Bullseye. I'm not sure what he's got in his hand there. Must be cards. Interesting. And then we've got Elektra. Yeah, very detailed. I really like the look of all these miniatures. But yeah, that is everything inside the Unmatched Hell's Kitchen box. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite Unmatched box is. Otherwise, I hope to see you on the next video, and as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content.